Hello everyone, Canon Lowy here, and this time on Path of Exile, I am going to do the Lord's Labyrinth, and this is a special dungeon type of area that you have to do these separate different trials to unlock. And I have shown one or two trials before. So where are all of the trials for the Lord's Labyrinth? Well, the Lord's Labyrinth has 6 different trials, which is indicated on these different ruins of some sort, or markings, on the Act 3 town, the Sarn encampment. The first trial is in the prison. And what a trial looks like is that look for in the mini-map a book icon, and the book icon will usually be a thing that you can read to indicate what the trial is sort of about. And every trial has some sort of trap, different traps that you will have to avoid to complete it, and you complete them by touching the ascendancy plaque at the end of it. So the first one is in the prison in Act 1. There's only one trial in Act 1. The 2 trials in Act 2 there is one in the Chamber of Sins and one in the Crypt. Now, of course, if these are their locations before 3.0, I'm pretty sure they didn't change it, or at least for the normal one. So if they did change it in any way after 3.0, I wouldn't know about it because it just unlocks it for me, because I did them before. So in Act 2, it's the Chamber of Sins and the Crypt is those 2, and in Act 3, there is 3 of them. And there is one in the Imperial Gardens, the Crematorium, and one in the Catacombs. So that's where the Act 3 ones are. So once you finish all 6 of them, you will unlock this, the Aspirants Plaza. This is just the entrance to the area. And as soon as it loads,
stand before the gates of the Lord's
wait
Labyrinth.
a minute.
Within these walls, the Lady of Justice doth preside. She shall weigh your mind in one hand, your heart in the other. Should she find you wanting, death shall be your sentence. Should she find you worthy, you will be given the loyalty and love of an empire. The Lord's Labyrinth awaits you. Choose wisely, strike quickly, trust completely, and may you find the ending that you deserve.
So yeah, this area is level 33. The monsters are really not that difficult in this area, but it's primarily the boss that I have issues with. And for some reason, this wasn't in there before 3.0 patch. There's apparently a waypoint here, which it's completely new at this point. So I'm guessing that when you do the cruel and merciless labyrinths, and yeah, that you'll have to come here and then it does something? I don't know.
The just goddess presides over us all. The future of the Empire rests in her even hands.
So I'm guessing when you do activation device? Oh, okay. This makes it really easy to well, okay, here's all of the locations. We have Act 1, the lower prison. Act 2, the crypt level 1. The Chamber of Sins, level 2, Act 2. The Crematorium, Act 3. The Catacombs, and the Hedge Maze, which is a sub-area of the Imperial Gardens. For the Cruel Labyrinth, there is one in the Lower Prison, Act 6. The Crypt in Act 7. The Chamber of Sins in Act 7. And the Cruel Labyrinth is level 55. The Merciless Labyrinth. Wow, they even put a level requirement? Though why you would do with the Merciless Labyrinth at level 50, I'm not exactly sure, unless you're just that good at the game. But anyways, the Bathhouse in Act 8, the Tunnel in Act 9, and the Ushery in Act 10. The Eternal Labyrinth is... you have to do stuff in maps. You have to find the trials in the maps. So, yeah, it just says maps. I apparently have 5 out of the 6 done. And it requires level 60 and it's level 75. The Merciless is 68. So, let's get started with the normal one. I could technically do the Crow one right now, but at level 55 area, I would probably get one-shotted by Izaro, the boss, so... That does make the labyrinth easy to find the different trials there when it's all spelled out for you. So here is the labyrinth map, and yes, this place is big enough to need a map. And you start obviously on this side, and you work your way, and well, there's only one line coming out of here. That means you can only go to whatever areas right here out of this one. And then oftentimes it'll have branching paths, or maybe even secret paths that don't show up on those. And they will have keys or various things that you will need to progress.
In the impressionable youth of my reign, I was encouraged to believe in the precious nature of my imperial blood. The divine claret, as one fool of a courtier would repeat with tiresome regularity. Unfortunately, my divine claret refused to pour from one cup to another. Try as I might, with a lovely procession of young and ever-dutiful wives, my noble seed simply would not sprout. Who then to choose as my worthy successor? With the candidates on hand either mediocre at best or maniacal at worst, I found myself in quite the quandary. That's when fortune took me by the hand and led me to a forgotten tome on a forgotten shelf in the quietest corner of San Library. A tome entitled Ancient Traditions of Asmarian Ascendancy. The rest, one might say, is history.
So yeah, that's a little bit of background on where this came from. Since it's only level 33, I should just kind of run through it. Especially since if you fail, you have to start all the way over. So my fire trap does seem to be working decent enough against groups. And the labyrinth, as you can see here, does have traps, just like the trials do, but as you would probably expect, they do get a lot worse than the trials do. And the Eternal Labyrinth, the level 75 one, that you unlock with maps, get really terrible for the traps. So... And now we... Aspirant's Trial already? That doesn't seem right. Well, I'll take it. So, the Aspirant's Trial is basically a resting spot before the boss.
The weary traveler draws close to the end of the path.
And you do get a chest here, so if you get anything you want to keep, put it in there. Because you will get items from Izaro, and of course if you kill enemies throughout the labyrinth here. So Izaro, why is he so powerful? Well, he himself has a lot of attack power, but also he has different quirks that happen during his boss fight, where he could have portals that summon minions, or he can have other mini bosses or champions fight with him and stuff like this.
The effigy, one defiles the emperor.
And it looks like he is going for the statue quirk.
Don't give up yet.
And I think all I need to do is touch them. It looks like. Oh no, you don't. So basically, every time you fight him, it's a 3-part.
You are inexhaustible.
You damage him to.
People kneel before their true sovereign.
So you damage him to 1/3 of his HP every time until you kill him. So you fight him 3 times, and this quirk right here, from the look of it, I guess you just tap on them to get them to stop. And if you allow one to activate, it does blasts around the room, but also it transfers to the next battle. And you can't actually click on them when they're in the next battle, as far as I know. Or at least it didn't work like that before. So if you don't get rid of them, they will constantly activate and give you troubles there.
Just need a moment.
Oh, I got a unique jewel. Okay then. So if you can deactivate Burning Arrow and additional ignite enemy, okay, that's good. So try to deactivate whatever quirks that he has in the room so they don't transfer to the later trials, because the next trial has its own quirk of its own, and the third trial area, he actually has traps with him. So if you have 2 different quirks activating on him, as well as the traps, that does make it a lot harder to fight him. But he didn't really seem to be that terrible to fight this time, but it's probably because I'm level 42. If I was level maybe 35 or something, I would probably be having a lot more, I would have had a lot more difficulty dealing damage to him. Crystone, okay. So did I just walk in a circle? Looks like I did. I would probably do the next trial, the next labyrinth. cruel one at level 60 or something. I like to be over leveled at least a little bit to give me an easier time fighting Izaro. I love fire dash hacks right there. And if I don't get killed by the traps, I'm probably supposed to go this way, aren't I?
Justice is served.
Well, dying from a trap is pretty embarrassing. I did not mean to do that. So, a case in point of you being kicked out after dying. And I don't even know where to put this. Maybe right there.
Hello?
So I guess we'll try it again, because traps are always wonderful. I'm kind of surprised it doesn't just kick you out to this area instead of this area instead of the Act 3 town. So every time that you restart a labyrinth, the labyrinth doesn't change until it changes every day. So if you do so if you know the layout of it, it is a lot. You can go a lot faster at doing this. But I think I'm going to skip until after I fight Izaro to say, because it's basically just seeing the same stuff that I've already done. So I'll just skip till after I finish the first fight again. Alright, I'm back from I defeated Izaro again, and this is one of the various item, what should I call it? It's kind of the stash that you can find after you go through traps to open the levers to open this. And you can sometimes get a treasure key. And a treasure key opens one of the treasure chests, like it says, at the end of the labyrinth after you kill Izaro for the last time. So if you want more rewards, you can go through the traps and activate all the levers to unlock that. Which I did that without... Well, sometimes they actually force you to go through the traps to actually progress through the labyrinth, so that's why kind of why I did it. Superior Molten Strike. Okay then. You can sometimes find poems or other things in here.
need a moment to catch my breath.
Now let's try to not die from the traps this time. I said not die from the traps. Okay, so where am I supposed to actually go here? Nope, I don't want to go there. Just use some of that hacks right there, and here we go. Now that's kind of what I was talking about, was sometimes they force you to go through the traps to progress.
When the time comes to strike, an emperor strikes without hesitation. To entertain doubt is to dance with death.
So right here, it shows the buffs that Izaro will have, or quirks he will have during each round of the fight after the first one. So apparently I did not touch the Conduit of Storms or Frost the second time I fought him to not activate them. So now they will be in the second portion of the fight, and it actually grants him damage reduction and extra damage, which isn't good. And there's also apparently an alternate path to come here. So let's see how this goes. See if I don't die again.
The emperor is only as efficient as those he commands.
And here is the mini boss sort of things I was talking about. Now if you don't kill them, they will just appear in the next fight, and then I'm pretty sure you can kill them then, but it's just easier to get that over with the first time. And do not get hit by the ground smash. I don't know how I dodged that. Unless my evasion chance finally kicked in.
Determination overcomes domination. This is the one law of sovereignty.
So we have 2 rounds down. Now we have to find where that last trial is. Go through there because of the stupid trap. So this lever does something? What unlocks that? Kind of a safe type room here. Ow. So the darts poison you and slow you down. Let myself regenerate here. And of course, if you get hit by one of those and you're in the middle of the trap, you're almost guaranteed to die. So be extra cautious of that. So how do I... Oh, here's a safe spot, sort of. Let me through. Yes. Honestly, I'm pretty sure the traps probably are way more dangerous than any of the monsters. And sometimes even Izaro himself, when you're in the final round, when he has the traps with him, that is actually more dangerous than him himself. Getting all my flask charges back. More traps, yay! Everybody loves traps. And why is there one that's floating? Give me that chromatic orb. And I hope that trap filled area isn't where I'm supposed to go. Because I do not want to deal with that. State walkways. Whoa, he's super fast for a golem. Good thing he's only level 33. Crap, get out of here. I am, surprisingly enough, getting a decent amount of experience. Of course, not nearly as good as it would be otherwise, but for only being level 33 and how much damage experience reduction I should be getting, that's not terrible. I did hear a chest. There we go. Oh, that's that, okay.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
The silver caches, they are basically similar to the caches that have the extra treasure keys, but they have a chance of dropping an Izaro specific unique item. And some of them are not too bad. Like there's a skilled jewel that gives you plus 25% fire and fire and cold damage, I think it is. Now here's the aspirant's trial. Once again, this is the final round.
Aspirant can afford to be promising. An emperor must keep those promises.
And look at all these chromatic orb items. And then there's the alternate entrance here. So he still has the conduits, but on this side we got rid of all three of the lieutenants, generals, whatever they are, before the time ran out.
The guide led the warrior down a path that wound and twisted through fields of blossoming promises, green-bladed hopes. The warrior closed his eyes, a mere moment to feel the warmth of the sun on his back, and to drink.
The custom of the Lord's trial was upheld throughout the founding years of the Empire. Verusso's successor, Caspiro, was a low-born legionnaire, the lone survivor of a labyrinth that claimed the lives of every high-born contender, including Verusso's only son. Caspiro proved to be every bit the emperor that Verusso was. Alas, the Lord's labyrinth was corrupted by those with the vanity to consider their blood more precious than their empire. Selfish blood breeds selfish times, and the empire paid for it with its own blood.
Okay then. Okay, let's see if we can defeat Izaro for the normal one.
A throne is the most devious trap of them all.
Oh, I wonder why they're where the traps are.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Is there just simply no traps in normal mode anymore or something? Or am I missing something? Hey, I'll take it though. Come on, Izaro. There we go. On normal mode, he doesn't really seem to be that bad as a boss. And for some reason, the traps were not activated. And I'm really not sure why that is, because on all difficulties they were working before. But Izaro himself, as long as you can dodge his attacks pretty decently well, he isn't that bad.
Before your emperor, you are worthy. Before the goddess of justice, you are worthy. Receive our blessings, embrace our gifts, and rise, Ascendant. For this is the ending that we all deserve.
Well, thank you. And then you get a Trial of Ascendancy. You can choose your Ascendancy class. And each different character gets 3 different Ascendancy options that drastically improve a specific part of their character. For an example, the Assassin, for the Shadow, he can have higher chances of bleeding, poison, chaos damage, critical hits, and even power charges. The Trickster is movement speed skills, frenzy charges, damage over time, and various... It's kind of like an all-rounder, I guess, if you do damage over time, pretty much. I am going to choose the Stebutor, because he does
the artist need not be present to make a lasting impression.
Because he does the most benefit to traps and mines, which I'm not a mine character, but... So you get 2 Ascendancy points per difficulty of the Labyrinth that you do. So the Cruel one, the Merciless one, and the Eternal one each give you +2 skill points to put into stuff. And these I like to call super skill points, or overpowered skill points, whichever one you prefer. Every 2 skill points you can add to one of these bigger nodes. That gives you a significant benefit. Like for this one, it does 40% increased cooldown recovery, which is probably what I'm going to do for the Cruel Labyrinth reward. Increased area of effect. When your traps trigger, your nearby traps also trigger. And then increased damage for each trap you have on the ground. Penetrating resistances, blind stuff. But for this one, I'm going to choose Bomb Specialist. And the reason why I'm doing that is because it has the increased damage per trap that's on the ground, but it also has 10% chance for your traps to trigger an additional time. So 10% of the time, you will deal double your damage from the sound of it. So that's pretty nice. And I go from 750 damage to 763. It's not really that much of a bonus from that, I guess. But that additional trigger per time sounds like it could be useful. So that is the Labyrinth in a nutshell, I guess. This is the easiest difficulty one, and only the traps were giving me a hard time. Oh, and here's all the treasure chests. You can just well, of course, just give me 2 more keys. That's awesome. Diamond ring, crimson jewel. Now this is the type of one that I really like, because it's all currency. You don't have to worry about selling anything or anything like that. Just all currency. And I had a Gem Cutter's Prism in there, which is one of the rarer currencies. And I ran out of keys. So each key that you have opens one of those. It's not really that great. Not really that great either. Attack speed, life, and reduced mana cost of skills. Attack speed with totem life, I don't really see how that would... Unless it helps your totems, but that doesn't really I'm not going to worry about keeping that. This +2 to all attributes, that's nothing. Increased elemental damage, well, that's not bad, but at level 44 I'm going to just use that. So that is the normal Labyrinth.
Come over here.
7 chromatic orbs, I'll take that. And then 1 Gem Cutter's Prism. Good stuff. Since we have the Labyrinth out of the way, we can go back to the Overseer's Tower and continue on the journey through Oriath, I guess this time. Yeah, I think that Bomb Specialist will help a lot. That chain reaction with the cooldown recovery I can see being really useful. But anyways, the next area we'll go to is the control blocks. And from this point on, I will be completely blind because I did do the Ascent and the slave pens before, but the previous final boss before 3.0 was Malachi. So everything from this point on, I'll have no idea what is going to happen storyline wise or otherwise. So until I record again, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully this has been useful in some way. And I'll see you next time.